The massive crystal hall stretched out like a frozen ocean. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy sat in floating chairs that moved without sound. Some had too many arms. Others had no arms at all. A few looked like walking trees. Many more looked like nothing Kim Day had ever seen in his 40 years on Earth. Kim Day straightened his simple black suit and looked around the Galactic Council chamber. Next to him sat Park Sun, a woman who knew more about alien technology than anyone on Earth. On his other side, Lee Ho checked his tablet for the 100th time. All three humans looked very small in this place built for giants. "The species called humans wishes to join our council," announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The speaker was a bug-like creature the size of a small building. Its 4 eyes looked down at the human delegation like they were interesting insects. Laughter filled the hall. Not human laughter, but sounds that meant the same thing. Clicks, whistles, roars, and noises that had no Earth names. Kim Day kept his face calm, but his hands tightened into fists. "Humans," said the bug creature, whose name was something humans could not pronounce. "Show us what your species can do." A hologram appeared in the center of the hall. It showed Earth blue and green and beautiful. Then it showed human ships. They looked like metal boxes with engines stuck on the back. Ugly and slow, more laughter. "These are your warships?" asked a being that looked like a walking crystal. "They appear to be made of—" "Is that iron? How primitive." The hologram changed to show human weapons, bullets and missiles and bombs that exploded with fire. The alien beings in the hall made sounds of amusement. "They still use projectile weapons," said something that looked like a floating jellyfish. "My children have better toys." Kim Day watched it all without speaking. Park Sun made notes on her tablet. Lee Ho just smiled. "Your nuclear weapons," said the bug creature, "are barely worth mentioning. Our mining equipment is more dangerous." The hologram showed more things. Human cities with their straight lines and square buildings. Human technology that looked simple next to the alien devices around them. Human soldiers with their basic armor and plain weapons. "They have not even learned to manipulate gravity properly," observed a snake-like being with golden scales. "Their ships must use chemical rockets. How do they even reach other planets?" "Very slowly, I imagine," said the crystal being. This got more laughter. Kim Day stood up. The hall became quiet. His voice carried clearly in the huge space. "Honored council members," he said, "we know our technology looks simple to you. We know our ships are not as fast as yours. We know our weapons are not as advanced. But we believe we can contribute to this council." "Contribute what?" asked the bug creature. "Entertainment?" "Protection," Kim Day said simply. This brought the loudest laughter yet. Beings that could destroy planets with their minds laughed at the idea of humans protecting them. "Very well," said the bug creature when the laughter died down. "We will give you a chance to prove yourselves. There are pirates in the outer ring, the Keth Raiders. We use them to test new member species. If you can defeat them, we will consider your application." "How many ships do they have?" asked Park Sun. 50, said the crystal being. "Do not worry. When you lose, we will offer you protection as a client species. You will be safe under our care." "How kind," said Kim Day. "When do we start?" "Immediately," said the bug creature. "We will watch your battle with great interest." The human delegation stood to leave. As they walked toward the exit, aliens called out helpful advice. "Aim for their engines," shouted one. "Surrender quickly to avoid too much damage," called another. "Try not to die too fast. We want to see how long you last." Kim Day, Park Sun, and Lee Ho walked through the crystal corridors to their ship. It was small and plain compared to the alien vessels around it. Some of the alien ships looked like living creatures. Others were made of materials that seemed to bend light. The human ship looked like it was built in someone's garage. Once inside, Park Sun closed the door and turned to Kim Day. "Should we tell them?" she asked. "Tell them what?" said Lee Ho, grinning. "About the restrictions," Park Sun said. "About why our ships look like this. About what we're really capable of." Kim Day shook his head. "Let them find out on their own. It will be more educational that way." Their ship lifted off from the council station. Through the windows, they could see alien vessels following them. The entire Galactic Council wanted to watch humanity's first battle. "Orders, sir?" asked the ship's AI. Its voice sounded completely human. "Standard engagement," Kim Day said. "Maintain all current restrictions. Do not exceed 1% operational capacity under any circumstances." "Understood," said the AI. "Should I inform the other ships?" "They already know," said Lee Ho. Earth Command was very clear about the rules. Park Sun pulled up star charts on her screen. The Keth Raiders are based in an asteroid field. 50 ships, all armed with plasma weapons and energy shields. They've been raiding merchant vessels for 20 years. Sounds like target practice, said Lee Ho. Be careful, Kim Dae warned. We want to win, but we don't want to show off. Make it look like we're trying hard. Of course, said Lee Ho. Can't have the council thinking we're too dangerous. Their ship jumped to faster than light speed. Behind them, dozens of alien ships followed to watch the show. The beings of the Galactic Council settled in to watch what they thought would be humanity's humbling defeat. In the asteroid field, 50 pirate ships waited. Their captains had been told to go easy on the humans. Just disable their ships and take them prisoner. The Council wanted the humans alive so they could offer them client species status. The pirates thought it would be easy. After all, how dangerous could one primitive species be? They were about to find out that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the galaxy is something that looks harmless. Sometimes the greatest threat comes from those who appear weak, and sometimes the worst mistake you can make is laughing at someone who is trying very hard not to laugh back. Kim Dae looked at his watch. Contact in 30 minutes, he said. Remember, people, we're just simple humans with primitive technology. Try to act surprised when our basic weapons work. Park Sun and Lee Ho smiled. This was going to be interesting. The asteroid field looked like a graveyard of broken planets. Huge rocks floated in space, some as big as cities. Hidden among them were 50 pirate ships waiting for the humans to arrive. Captain Oh Jin sat in his chair on the Bridge of Soul's Pride. His ship looked like a flying brick compared to the sleek alien vessels, watching from a safe distance. The council members had brought popcorn. Well, whatever aliens ate while watching entertainment. 3 human ships approaching, reported Tactical Officer Yoon Mi. She was 25 and had never been in real combat before. Today would be different. Pirates are powering up weapons. Take us in nice and slow, Oh Jin said. Make it look like we're being careful. Chief Engineer Choi Jun laughed from his station. Sir, at this speed my grandmother could catch us in her wheelchair. The pirate ships came out of hiding. They were fast and deadly, covered in spikes and painted with skull symbols. Their plasma cannons glowed with deadly energy. Energy shields flickered around their hulls like protective bubbles. Incoming transmission from the pirates, Yoonmi reported. Put them through, Oh-jin said. A ugly face appeared on the screen. The pirate captain had scars and metal teeth. Surrender now, humans, and we might let you live. Thank you for the offer, Oh-jin replied politely. But we'll have to decline, the pirate captain laughed. Your funeral, meatbags, the communication cut off. Immediately, all 50 pirate ships opened fire. Plasma bolts filled space with deadly light. The energy weapons could melt through most ship armor like a hot knife through butter. The alien council members watching from far away nodded approvingly. Plasma weapons were proper technology, not like human projectile weapons. The 3 human ships moved slowly, like they were struggling to dodge. Plasma bolts hit their hulls and bounced off. What? Said the bug creature watching from the council ship. How are their shields so strong? Maybe they got lucky, suggested the crystal being. Oh Jin smiled. Yoon-mi, return fire! Use the basic kinetic weapons only. Yes, sir. Firing basic projectiles. The human ships fired what looked like simple metal bullets. No energy, no plasma. Just chunks of metal flying through space at very high speed. The aliens watching laughed. Primitive projectile weapons, said the jellyfish being. This will be over soon. The bullets hit the first pirate ship. Its energy shields, designed to stop plasma and lasers, didn't even slow them down. The metal projectiles punched through the hull like it was made of paper. The ship exploded. The laughter from the council ships stopped. Lucky shot, said someone. The human ships fired again. More simple metal bullets. More pirate ships exploded. The energy shields that protected against advanced weapons were useless against old-fashioned projectiles moving at incredible speeds. How are they so accurate? Demanded the snake being. Those weapons have no guidance systems. Oh-jin was having fun. Choi-jun, what's our engine output? 0.8%, sir, the engineer replied. Should I increase power? No need. Yoon-mi, try those new targeting computers Earth sent us. Which ones, sir? The ones that calculate bullet paths through 17 dimensions? Those are the ones. The human weapons fired again. This time the bullets curved around asteroids, bounced off space rocks, and hit pirate ships from impossible angles. Physics said it couldn't work. The bullets didn't care what physics said. In 10 minutes, 30 pirate ships were destroyed or disabled. The remaining 20 tried to run. They're fleeing, Yunmi reported. Well, we can't have that, Oh-jin said. Choi-jun, give me 0.9% engine power. 0.9%, sir. The human ships suddenly moved like dancers. They flowed between asteroids, dodged plasma fire, and caught up with the fleeing pirates effortlessly. The alien observers watched in shock as the slow human ships revealed hidden speed. Impossible, whispered the crystal being. Their engines were chemical rockets. Apparently not, said the bug creature. The last pirate ships fell to human weapons in minutes. Not fancy energy weapons or exotic matter disruptors. Just metal bullets fired with perfect accuracy at incredible speed. Oh-jin opened a channel to the pirate base hidden in the largest asteroid. Attention, Keth Raiders. Surrender now and we'll let you live. Never, came the reply. We have fortress shields and heavy weapons. Your choice, Oh-jin said sadly. Lee Ho's voice came over the communication system from one of the other ships. Captain, should we use the mining charges? Good idea, Oh-jin replied. But keep it simple. We don't want to show off. Mining charges, asked Yunmi. Standard equipment, Oh-jin explained. Every human ship carries them for clearing space debris. The human ships launched what looked like simple explosive devices toward the asteroid base. The pirates laughed at the primitive weapons. Their fortress shields could stop nuclear bombs. The mining charges hit the shields and did something impossible. They didn't explode. Instead, they somehow turned the shields inside out. The protective energy that was supposed to keep things out started pulling the asteroid apart from the inside. In 30 seconds, the pirate base was space dust. Silence filled the communication channels. Oh-jin cleared his throat. Control, this is Soul's Pride, mission complete. All pirate vessels destroyed or captured. No human casualties. Systems operating at peak efficiency of 0.9%. 0.9%. The alien council members stared at their sensor readings. The human ships had just destroyed 50 combat vessels and a fortified base while using less than 1% of their capabilities. Did he say 0.9%? Asked the jellyfish being. He did, confirmed the bug creature. 0.9% of what? Nobody had an answer. Kim Dae's voice came over the communication channel from his diplomatic ship. Honored council members, thank you for the training exercise. Our ships report all systems functioning normally. We're ready for the real evaluation whenever you are. Real evaluation? That was the real evaluation, said the crystal being. Oh, Kim Dae replied. In that case, we look forward to joining the council. Also, our deep space sensors have detected something approaching from outside the galaxy. It might be worth investigating. The human ships began moving toward home. They flew in perfect formation, their primitive hulls reflecting starlight. Behind them, the wreckage of 50 pirate ships drifted in space. The Galactic Council sat in stunned silence. They had just watched 3 human ships, using less than 1% of their power, destroy a pirate fleet that had terrorized the Outer Ring for decades. What? Asked the bug creature slowly. Are they capable of at full power? I don't think we want to know, replied the crystal being, but they were wrong. They did want to know. And soon they would find out. Because something was indeed coming from outside the galaxy. Something that would require much more than 1% of human capability to stop. The Council just didn't know it yet. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with angry voices in 100 different languages. The Vorthak Empire's representatives were not happy. Their pride hurt worse than their wounded ships. This is unacceptable, declared General Vector, his insect-like mandibles clicking with rage. The humans cheated somehow. No primitive species defeats the Keth Raiders so easily. Kim Dae sat quietly in his chair, hands folded. Next to him, Park Sun reviewed battle reports on her tablet. They both wore the same simple black suits as before. They looked like insurance salesmen at a convention of gods. We demand a proper test, General Vector continued. Let the humans face a real military force. Let them face the Third Fleet of the Vorthak Empire. Murmurs filled the chamber. The Vorthak Third Fleet was legendary. 200 biomechanical ships that could repair themselves in battle. Weapons that fired concentrated antimatter. Shields that adapted to any attack. They had conquered 12 star systems without losing a single vessel. The crystal being who seemed to speak for the council looked worried. General Vector, perhaps that is excessive. The humans have proven their basic competence. Basic competence? The general's 4 eyes blazed with fury. They destroyed our client species with primitive weapons. Either they are more advanced than they appear, or they got impossibly lucky. Either way, they must prove themselves against a real enemy. Kim Day stood up. The chamber fell silent. "We accept," he said simply. "Kim Day," Park Sun whispered urgently. "The Third Fleet has never been defeated." "I know," he replied calmly. Admiral Nam Gil received the orders while his small fleet patrolled the edge of Council space. 5 human ships against 200 Vorthak vessels. His crew thought it was a joke until they read the details. "Sir," said Intelligence Officer Ko Min, "the Vorthak ships are alive. Biological technology merged with mechanical systems. They adapt to attacks in real time." "Interesting," Nam Gil said. He was an old man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought pirates, rebels, and worse things in 40 years of service. "What else?" Specialist Bei Wan, their expert on alien psychology, pulled up files on her screen. "The Vorthak believe in overwhelming force. They attack in waves, using fear as a weapon. Their ships are designed to look terrifying." "Do they work?" Nam Gil asked. "The fear tactics? Very well. Most species surrender after seeing the Vorthak battle display." "And their actual combat effectiveness?" Bei Wan smiled. "Impressive against anyone who fights the way they expect. But they've never faced an enemy that doesn't follow standard galactic combat doctrine." Nam Gil nodded. "Ko Min, what do our deep space sensors tell us about that anomaly?" Ko Min's expression grew serious. "It's definitely artificial, sir. Massive energy signatures moving toward the galaxy's core. Whatever it is, it's bigger than anything we've seen before. Time until arrival? 6 months, maybe less." Nam Gil looked at his small fleet through the bridge windows. 5 human ships that looked like metal boxes with engines. Simple, ugly, and completely underestimated by everyone who saw them. "Signal Earth Command," he said. "Tell them we might need to increase operational capacity to 2% for this engagement." 2%, sir?" asked his communications officer. "Are you sure?" "The Vorthak have adapted to fight every known species in the galaxy," Nam Gil explained. "They've never fought humans. This might actually be challenging." The battle took place in empty space between 2 star systems. The Vorthak Third Fleet arrived first, their biomechanical ships spreading out in an intimidating formation. Each vessel pulsed with organic light, living metal flowing like liquid across their hulls. The Galactic Council watched from a safe distance. Every species in the galaxy wanted to see this fight. Betting pools had formed. Most aliens put their money on the Vorthak winning in under an hour. "The humans are insane," declared the jellyfish being. 5 ships against 200? They're committing suicide." "Perhaps they know something we don't," suggested the crystal being. "What could they possibly know that would help them win this fight?" The human fleet arrived exactly on time. 5 small ships moving in a tight formation. They looked even more primitive next to the organic curves of the Vorthak vessels. General Vektar's voice boomed across all communication channels. "Humans, witness the power of the Vorthak Empire. See your doom approaching." The Vorthak ships began their traditional intimidation display. Brilliant lights flashed across their hulls, weapons charged with visible energy. The biomechanical vessels moved in a complex dance designed to terrify enemies into surrender. It was beautiful and terrifying, and completely wasted on the humans. Admiral Nam Gil opened a communication channel. "Very pretty. Are you ready to fight now?" The Vorthak attack began immediately. 200 ships firing antimatter weapons that could crack planets. Energy beams that burned holes through space itself. The concentrated firepower could destroy entire fleets. The human ships scattered, moving with sudden grace. Their primitive engines revealed hidden capabilities as they danced between antimatter streams. What looked like slow chemical rockets were actually something much more advanced. "Impossible," General Vektar snarled. "How are they so fast?" The humans returned fire with their simple kinetic weapons, metal bullets traveling at impossible speeds. The Vorthak bioships tried to adapt, growing new armor and shifting their internal structure to absorb the impacts. It didn't work. The human projectiles punched through adaptive armor like it wasn't there. Worse, they seemed to target the biological components specifically. Living ships died, their mechanical parts continuing to function but their organic brains destroyed. "Status report," Nam Gil requested calmly. "Enemy fleet at 60% combat effectiveness," Ko Min reported. "Our ships are performing at 1.7% capacity. 1.7%. The Vorthak changed tactics, trying to overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers. 50 ships concentrated fire on a single human vessel. The combined antimatter barrage should have vaporized anything in space. The human ship simply wasn't there when the weapons arrived. It had moved through space in a way that violated several known laws of physics. How did they do that? Demanded the bug creature watching from the council ships. I don't know, admitted the crystal being. It looked like they folded space around themselves. The battle continued for 2 hours. The Vorthak threw everything they had at the human fleet: antimatter weapons, gravity bombs, reality warping fields, and biological horrors that had conquered countless worlds. Nothing worked. The human ships fought with a three-dimensional thinking that the Vorthak couldn't match. They attacked from angles that shouldn't exist, used weapons that shouldn't work, and moved in ways that defied explanation. Worst of all, they were obviously holding back. Their ships never used full power, never revealed their complete capabilities. They fought like scientists conducting an experiment, not warriors fighting for their lives. One by one, Vorthak ships fell silent. Their biomechanical hulls went dark as human weapons found impossible weak points. The Third Fleet, undefeated for 3 centuries, was being systematically dismantled by 5 primitive ships. General Vektar's flagship was the last to fall. As human weapons targeted his ship's brain center, he sent one final transmission. "What are you?" Namgil's reply was gentle. "We're humans, General. Just humans." The Vorthak flagship went dark. Namgil opened a channel to the Galactic Council. "Counselors, combat operations complete. Enemy fleet neutralized with minimal damage to our vessels. Systems report peak usage at 1.7% of baseline capacity." Silence filled the communication channels. "Also," Namgil continued, "our deep space sensors have confirmed the approaching anomaly. It's definitely hostile and definitely artificial. We estimate arrival in 4 months. We recommend the Council begin emergency preparations immediately." The alien Council members stared at their screens. 5 human ships had just destroyed the most powerful military force in known space while using less than 2% of their capabilities. Admiral Namgil, the crystal being, said carefully, "What would happen if you used more than 2%? Namgil was quiet for a moment. "Counselor, with respect, I hope you never have to find out. But given what's coming toward us from outside the galaxy, you probably will." The human ships formed up and began the journey home. Behind them, the wreckage of 200 Vorthak vessels drifted in space like a graveyard of dreams. The galaxy had stopped laughing. The thing that came from outside the galaxy had no name in any living language. The Council scientists called it the Devourer, but that was like calling a hurricane wind. Words were too small for what approached their home. Dr. Seo Han stared at the readings on her screen and felt her blood turn cold. She was Earth's best xenobiologist, an expert on alien life forms. What she saw in the data made her question everything she knew about life, death, and the space between them. "It's not a ship," she told the emergency council session. "It's not even a fleet. It's a mobile civilization." The hologram in the center of the chamber showed the enemy in all its terrible glory, geometric shapes the size of moons, moving in perfect formation toward the galaxy's heart. Each structure pulsed with dark energy that made reality bend around it. "How many?" asked the crystal being. His voice shook for the first time anyone could. "Remember, our deep space sensors count over 10,000 large vessels," reported strategist Limda. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who had studied galactic history for 30 years, but they're building more as they travel, converting matter directly into additional ships. The chamber erupted in panic. 10,000 ships, each one larger than anything the Council had ever built. The combined fleets of all member species might number 3,000 vessels on a good day. "We're outnumbered 3-1, said General Vektar. His defeat by the humans had left him humbled but still proud. "And their technology appears superior to anything we possess." Kim Day stood up from his seat. The chamber fell silent. Over the past months, the other species had learned to listen when humans spoke. "We've fought them before," he said simply. "Impossible," declared the jellyfish being. "This is the first time anyone has encountered the Devourers." "Not the Devourers specifically," Kim Day clarified. "But we fought enemies like them. Enemies with superior technology, superior numbers, and superior firepower." Limda activated another hologram. It showed human history, but not the sanitized version they had shared before. This showed the truth. Wars that lasted decades, battles where humans were outnumbered 100 to 1, enemies with weapons that should have ended humanity in days. We learned early that we would always be outgunned, Lim Da explained, so we designed our entire military doctrine around fighting superior forces. Dr. Seohan added more data to the display. The Devourers aren't just machines. They're the remains of organic species that chose mechanical immortality. They've been doing this for millions of years, consuming civilizations and turning their resources into more of themselves. Then how do we fight them? Asked the bug creature. By being something they've never encountered before, Kim Dae replied. They've fought every type of civilization in dozens of galaxies. Energy-based species, matter manipulators, beings of pure thought. But they've never fought humans. Captain Anbo's ship materialized in space near the Council Station. It didn't arrive through hyperspace or wormhole travel. One moment there was empty space. The next moment there was a human vessel that looked nothing like their previous ships. This one was sleek, angular, and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. When it moved, space itself rippled around it like water. Counselors, Anbo's voice reached them. Humanity formally requests temporary command of all defensive operations. We're going to need every ship you can spare. You cannot be serious, said the snake being. What can your 5 ships do against 10,000? 5 ships? Anbo sounded amused. Counselor, we have more than 5 ships. The space around the council station filled with human vessels. They appeared from nowhere, materializing like ghosts becoming solid. First dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Ships of every size and shape, from fighters no bigger than cars to massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything the aliens had ever built. Where did they all come from? Whispered the crystal being. They were always there, Kim Dae explained. Cloaked, waiting. Humanity has been preparing for this war for 300 years. The alien council members stared in shock. The humans hadn't just hidden their technology and their capabilities. They had hidden an entire fleet. Ships that existed in the spaces between dimensions, weapons that operated outside normal physics, defenses that made reality itself into armor. How many? Asked General Vector. Enough, Kim Dae replied. Anbo's voice filled the chamber again. We're detecting Devourer advanced scouts entering the outer rim. They'll reach the core systems in 72 hours. All civilian populations should evacuate to designated safe zones immediately. Safe zones? Asked the jellyfish being. Nowhere is safe from the Devourers. They consume entire star systems. The safe zones are protected by human technology, Anbo explained. The Devourers won't be able to find them, let alone reach them. Dr. Seohan pulled up tactical displays. The enemy ships are adapting as they move. They're analyzing our communications, our technology, our defensive positions. By the time they reach us, they'll have counters for everything we've ever used in battle. Good thing we're not planning to use anything we've used before, said Lim. The first battle took place 3 star systems, away from the Council's core worlds. 50 Devourer ships emerged from hyperspace, each one a mile-long geometric nightmare that hurt to look at directly. They began the process they had perfected across 100 galaxies, scanning, analyzing, adapting. They found nothing. The human fleet appeared around them like a trap closing. Ships that shouldn't exist using weapons that violated the laws of physics, moving in ways that made space itself scream. The Devourers tried to adapt. Their mechanical minds processed data at impossible speeds, analyzing human tactics and technology to find weaknesses. They had done this successfully for millions of years. It didn't work. Human weapons didn't follow consistent patterns. Each shot was different, using principles the Devourers' databases couldn't categorize. Worse, the humans seemed to fight across multiple dimensions simultaneously, attacking from angles that didn't exist in normal space. The 50 Devourer ships died in 17 minutes. Impossible, said the bug creature watching from the command center. The Devourers adapt to any attack. How are the humans preventing it? Anbo's explanation chilled them all. We're not preventing adaptation. We're making it irrelevant. Every time they analyze one of our weapons, we switch to something completely different. They can't adapt fast enough. More battles followed. The Devourers sent larger forces, using tactics that had conquered entire galactic clusters. Nothing worked. Human ships danced through their formations like ghosts. striking with weapons that shouldn't exist and vanishing before return fire could find them. Status report. Kim Dae requested during a brief lull in the fighting. Enemy advance force eliminated. Anbo reported. Our fleet is operating at 12% capacity. No losses. 12%. The main fleet will arrive in 18 hours, Dr. Seohan warned. 10,000 ships, each one adapted based on what they've learned from our tactics. Let them come, said Anbo. We're ready. The crystal being looked at the tactical displays with growing horror. Admiral, with respect, 10,000 ships is not the same as 50. Even with your capabilities, the numbers are overwhelming. Counselor, Kim Dae said gently, you're thinking like the Devourers. You're thinking about this as a battle between ships and weapons and technology. But that's not what this is, then what is it? Kim Dae smiled, and for the first time, the alien council members saw something in his expression that made them very glad humans were on their side. This is a battle between a force that has conquered everything it ever encountered, and a species that has never known what it means to surrender. The Devourers are about to learn the difference between winning and surviving. The main Devourer fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a plague of metal locusts, 10,000 ships that blotted out the stars, their combined mass warping space-time itself. Each vessel pulsed with the accumulated knowledge of 1,000,000 conquered worlds. The human response was simple and terrifying. All ships, Anbo broadcast, you are cleared to increase operational capacity to 15%. Repeat, 15% authorized. Across the human fleet, engines that had been whispers became roars. Weapons that had been hints became thunderstorms. Ships that had been shadows became angels of destruction. The galaxy was about to see what happened when humanity stopped pretending to be harmless. Supreme Commander Yang Su had never wanted this job. She was a small woman with gray hair who preferred working in her garden to commanding fleets. But when humanity needed someone to coordinate the defense of an entire galaxy, they chose the person who understood that war was about protecting things worth saving, not destroying things worth hating. Status report, she said calmly, from the bridge of humanity's newest flagship. 10,000 Devourer ships confirmed. Reported Chief Technology Officer Ryu Jia. His console showed readings that would have terrified most species. They're beginning their standard consumption pattern. Through the view screen, they could see the enemy fleet. Each ship was a geometric horror the size of a small moon. Together, they formed a wall of metal and malice that stretched across space like a cancer. Dark energy pulsed between them as they prepared to devour another galaxy. Diplomatic liaison moon key to all council species, came a voice over the communication system. Civilian evacuation is complete. All non-combat vessels are safely in dimensional shelters. You may begin recording for historical purposes. Recording for historical purposes. As if this battle was already won. The Devourers moved first as they always did. 1,000 ships broke from the main formation and began their approach. Their strategy was simple and effective. Overwhelm with numbers, adapt to resistance, consume everything. Yang Su watched them come with the patience of someone who had spent 40 years preparing for this exact moment. Ryu Jia, what's our fleet status? All ships report ready. Dimensional anchors engaged. Reality stabilizers active. We're operating in full 15% mode. And our special weapons? Probability engines are online. Temporal disruptors charged. The space-time manipulation systems are ready for deployment. The alien council members watching from their safe observation post couldn't understand what they were hearing. Probability engines? Temporal disruptors? These weren't technologies that should exist. What are they talking about? Asked the crystal being. Kim Dae, still serving as humanity's liaison, looked tired but determined. Things we hoped we'd never have to use. The battle began with the Devourers firing their reality-warping weapons. Beams of dark energy that could unmake matter at the atomic level. Gravity bombs that turned space inside out. Dimensional rifts that led to places where physics had different rules. The attacks reached the human fleet and simply stopped. Impossible, said General Vector, staring at his sensors. Nothing can stop those weapons. The humans aren't stopping them, observed Dr. Seohan. They're redirecting them. Those weapons are hitting empty space that the humans somehow moved into the path of the attacks. Yang Su's voice carried across all human ships. Begin counterattack. Use Protocol 7. The human fleet responded with weapons that shouldn't exist. They didn't fire energy or matter. They fired possibilities. beams of pure chance that rewrote reality around their targets. Devourer ships that had existed for millions of years suddenly found themselves never having been built. "How?" whispered the bug creature. "We don't fight in normal space-time," Ryuja explained over the communication channel. "We fight across multiple probability streams simultaneously. For every timeline where the Devourers win, we create 10 where they lose. The first 1,000 Devourer ships died in ways that violated causality. They exploded before being shot. They surrendered to attacks that missed them. They simply ceased to exist because the universe decided they were mathematically impossible. The main Devourer fleet adapted, as they always did. Their collective intelligence processed the human attacks, analyzed the patterns, prepared counters for everything they had seen. It didn't matter. Switch to Protocol 12, Yang Su ordered. The human weapons changed completely. Now they fired concentrated time, aging Devourer ships 1 billion years in seconds. Metal became rust. Energy became entropy. The machines that had terrorized galaxies crumbled into cosmic dust. The Devourers adapted again, modifying their ships to exist outside normal time flow. Protocol 18, Yang Su said calmly. Human ships began firing pieces of alternate dimensions where the laws of physics worked differently. Devourer vessels found themselves in spaces where their advanced technology simply couldn't function. Energy weapons became butterflies. Armor plating turned into poetry. Ships built for war became philosophical debates about the nature of existence. "This is madness," said the jellyfish being. "They're rewriting reality itself." "Not rewriting," Kim Day corrected. "We're showing reality what it could be if it tried harder." The battle raged for 6 hours. Every time the Devourers adapted, the humans changed tactics completely. They fought with weapons made of crystallized music, shields woven from mathematical concepts, and engines powered by the dreams of unborn civilizations. Most terrifying of all, they were still holding back. "Fleet status," Yang Su requested. 15% capacity across all vessels, reported Ryuja. Some ships are requesting permission to increase to 20%. Denied. 15% is sufficient. The Devourer fleet, reduced from 10,000 ships to less than 100, made a final desperate attack. They combined their remaining power into a single weapon, designed to unravel the fundamental forces holding the galaxy together. Yang Su watched the approaching wave of destruction with calm eyes. "All ships, prepare for final protocol. Authorization Omega-7. "Commander," Ryuja said carefully, "Omega-7 has never been tested in actual combat. Today seems like a good day to try it." The human fleet changed. Not just their weapons or their formation, but their very existence. The ships began to exist in 17 dimensions simultaneously, their hulls made of crystallized spacetime, their weapons firing concentrated inevitability. The Devourer superweapon hit them and was absorbed, converted into something useful. The energy meant to destroy a galaxy became fuel for human engines. The last 100 Devourer ships died peacefully, their mechanical consciousnesses finally understanding what they had encountered. Not just a more advanced species, but a species that had transcended the normal limitations of existence without losing their essential humanity. "Devourer fleet eliminated," Yang Su reported to the Council. "All human ships operational at 15% capacity. No casualties." Silence filled the communication channels. "Also," Yang Su continued, "our deep space monitoring stations have detected 7 more extragalactic threats approaching from various directions. Estimated arrival times range from 50 to 300 years. We recommend using this time to upgrade Council defenses and perhaps discuss humanity's membership application." The alien Council members stared at their screens. Humanity had just defeated an enemy that had consumed dozens of galaxies, using only 15% of their capabilities. The implications were staggering. "Commander Yang Su," the crystal being said carefully, "what would happen if you used more than 15%? Yang Su was quiet for a long moment. "Counselor, we've been asking ourselves that question for 3 centuries. We've run computer simulations, built theoretical models, consulted our best philosophers. The answer is always the same, which is, we don't know. And we've decided that's probably for the best." Moon Key's voice joined the conversation. "The human species formally requests membership in the Galactic Council. We promise to continue operating at minimal capacity for all routine operations. We also promised to help defend this galaxy against any future threats. The vote was unanimous. Later, Kim Day sat in his new office as humanity's first Galactic Council representative. Through his window, he could see human ships patrolling the galaxy's borders, their engines running at a barely detectable fraction of full power. His daily log entry was simple. The galaxy laughed when we applied for membership with primitive technology and limited capabilities. They stopped laughing when they realized we were being honest about our limitations. We really were using only 1% of our power. The question that keeps the Council awake at night is not what we can do at full capacity. The question is what we choose not to do. He paused, then added, "Perhaps in time they'll understand that true strength isn't measured by what you can destroy, but by what you choose to protect. And sometimes the most terrifying thing in the universe is someone who could end everything, but chooses instead to water their garden." Outside his window, the stars shone peacefully in a galaxy that was no longer afraid of the dark between them. Humanity had taken its place among the civilizations of the Council, not as conquerors or destroyers, but as the gardeners of infinity. The galaxy had learned to respect the species that chose to use only 1% of their power. And deep in the space between dimensions, probability engines hummed quietly, keeping watch over dreams that were too precious to risk and too important to lose. Humanity's greatest weapon was not what they could do. It was what they chose not to do, and that made all the difference.